I am putting the wrenches down and we are moving over here to the 55 side. That's right, I read the comments and you guys asked for it, so I'm here to deliver. How did I get the car? Why did I settle for this little blown small block with all these crazy combinations and things that I do here? Well, I'm gonna answer all of those questions and more, so kick back, grab a beer, grab some chocolate chip cookies, whatever relaxes you, and we are gonna talk about some hot rods. Let's get into this. So, why did I end up picking this 55 Chevy up? Guys, I have always wanted a 55. This is top of my list. 55 Chevy has just always been there. One of the main reasons why is my late uncle was a Tri-5 guy through and through. He loved his other muscle cars, you know, Chevelles and Camaros and all that stuff. And he loved shoeboxes. I mean, all at the same time. He had this beautiful turquoise 57 Bel Air, completely stock. It was just a, you know, regular old 283. It wasn't a power pack. It was a 2-barrel, and we put duals on it. We took the power glide out and put a turbo 350 in it. Other than that, that was it. That was bone stock. He had 55 Chevy Nomad, 56 Nomad, and the creme de la creme. And there was 4 doors and all kinds of parts cars kind of scattered around, but these are the ones in the barn. But he had a beautiful 210 Bel Air 55 Chevy. It was candy apple red, excuse me, the big cut wheel wells, Krager's sticking out of this thing, fiberglass pull-off front end, ghost flames. The motor was set back like 6 inches, all black button tufted interior, had a 468 in it. And you're talking like the late 80s, early 90s. This thing was running like 1090s, 1080s, so it was a bad car back in the day. I loved that car. You know, by that point I was probably 12, 13 years old. Absolutely just, I loved that car and it stuck with me. And yes, American Graffiti and 2-Lane Blacktop, Hollywood Nights, I love those movies. But that car was what really locked me into going, I'm gonna have one of those one day. And with this, I mean, it took me a long time to get this car. And I've probably owned this for probably 5 or 6 years now. When I got it, it was completely bone stock. And it had like a set of Krager's on it and all that. Now you guys are gonna kind of see a theme here. I'm gonna be throwing up a whole bunch of pictures of all these cars because I figure you guys are gonna wanna also see what the heck I'm talking about here. But part of the reason why this thing is sitting, because I'm sure you guys are going, well, if you love it so much, why is this one sitting? And why is the black car over there and you're working on the black car? Okay, real quick. The black car is getting worked on because it's really close to being done. That is going to give me a lot of content for the channel. So people are going to want to see, you know, this 1800 horse, you know, bad mamma jamma 2nd gen Camaro doing its thing. But also there has been some life-changing events in my world. And the week before Christmas, like just a little while ago, our family business that my grandfather started right after World War II for doing custom fabrication, we closed it. And let's just say the rapids are still flowing with what's going on in life. Maybe I'll do another video and open up a little bit on it, but I might need to sell the black Camaro. And if it's an actual done, finished, run driving car, it's worth a whole lot more than it not being there. And then I have 2 projects that aren't done. I have to finish the black Camaro. I am going to take Muscle Car Custom Garage legit. I'm doing side jobs, but this is my father's barn. We used to have another shop, but my parents ended up buying where we're at and then putting this barn up, and then we've just been working in here for a while, I don't know, not quite a decade. And I do people's cars, you know, retro rods and things like that, everything that you guys see on the channel. I mean, you get an idea of, you know, retro rods to hot rods to full blown out drag cars to, you know, bone stock muscle cars, you know, pretty much just do it all. Anything that's muscle and makes you excited, me excited to, you know, hit the road and do some big smoky burnouts. I'm going to take it legit. I had to come to this conclusion of, do I want to go back to trying to do a factory job, or do I want to try to live my dream? And I don't think I could put my head down on my pillow at night with woulda, coulda, shouldas, with what if. I'm gonna take the chance. I'm gonna take the chance, and I have people that are behind me like, oh my gosh, I am so ready for you to, you know, light the wick and let this thing go, to where I can actually have a shop where I'm taking on more projects and more people and stuff like that. So now you understand why I'm working so hard on the black car, why this thing's sitting. So didn't mean that to be a little too long there, but that's what's going on. Now with this, I ended up picking this up, like I said, probably about 5-6 years ago. At that time, I had two cars. I had this 70 split bumper Camaro that I ended up building. That was a 3/4 chassis 750 car. Had two different motors in this. One was a ProCharge motor, exactly like what the black Camaro was, but it had better pieces in it and a little bit bigger blower, an F1X, which is the F3112. That motor made about 2,300 horsepower, and I wanted to just rule the town with that thing for sure. And then I also had a 2012 Mustang GT that was like my daily. Eventually I ended up putting on a VMP Odin blower on this thing, changed the wheels around, put a couple of cool stuff on it. This thing was making 700 wheel. And I will say this, Coyotes are bad. That was a Gen 1 Coyote, and that car was a blast. It was an automatic too, and that car was a frickin' blast. So at the time, my son-in-law wanted to get into hot rods. So ended up finding him a 79 Camaro, and you know how all of us car guys will go through Marketplace and stuff like that and just look and browse. I saw this, and the shot was just, you know, set of Krager's 55 Bel Air. And I'm looking at it going, huh. I go on the guy's profile page the same way that all of us do, and all of a sudden there's a notchback Mustang on the bumper. I'm going, okay. Start digging through, and this guy is a Ford junkie. I got a 2012 Coyote VMP low 10-second, you know, Mustang, where I'm going, huh. Call the guy up, we do a couple of things on it, explain the car, and he's like, send me some pictures. Well, I asked him about this, why are you selling it? Because who would trade a 55 Bel Air for a 2012 Mustang GT? But what happened was his uncle passed away, and he had this 55, he had a 66 notchback Mustang, beautiful car, and then he had a 70 Mustang that was in the middle of getting worked on. And he goes, I'm just not a Chevy guy. So I figured I'd put this up for sale. It's like, oh. I go down there with the Mustang, he takes it out for a drive, he loves the car, I see this thing. Now this had absolutely no interior in it, kind of similar to where it is now, but it had no interior. It was a bench sheet just with the windings on it. So I ended up going to Home Depot and buying it like foam and then zip tying. Actually, I put a piece of plywood down, then the foam on that, and then zip tied that in. And the thing wasn't running really good, but I got it onto the trailer and brought it home, or brought it here, and you know, the old man saw it. I'm like, I finally got my 55. I was so freaking happy, because again, this is from Tucson, Arizona. Everything on this car is original metal. It's a California frame, so it's a seamless frame. The floors, the trunk, everything is gorgeous on this car. So I just was like, oh yeah, you know, and the old man's looking at me, and he's like, don't do what I think you're gonna do to this car. Please tell me you are not gonna do what I think you're. He's like, just put a nice small block in it and a 4-speed and just keep it a street car. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have some fun with this. So I knew I wasn't gonna do a gasser. I like gassers, but I thought, I'm not gonna do a gasser. I wanna do something that's got that 70s flavor. So at that point, I wasn't totally sure. I knew I didn't want to do a full tub job. So on the back end of this thing, I did what's called a bridge frame. So what you would do is you would keep your stock frame inside the car. And you can see where I have this thing chopped down to where it is absolutely just paper thin. You would not run this frame the way that I have it. But a bridge frame is I'm pretty much doing a back half, and then I'm just connecting to the stock frame. This allows me to run some full frame classes or original frame classes. It lets me run more stuff. And doing that, the way that it's set up in the back end, I'm just running a set of bars going straight down to the ladder bar, and then from there, you run bars going from the 1 5/8 to the stock frame. You bridge the frame. So with that being done, it has a Dana 60 that I ended up having Mosier completely build. It also is coilovers and ladder bars, but these are Outlaw ladder bars. I believe they're from Chris Alston. And for you guys out there, your normal ladder bar setup is either an adjustable one or non-adjustable one. An adjustable one would be as the bar is coming like this, you'd have a little adjustable link right here that you can kind of preload suspension. The thing I don't like about that is as it takes that bar and you start to tighten it up, it actually bends the bar. So it's not really good, but it's better than not having one. An Outlaw setup is you have your bottom one and then this one actually bolts on here and it bolts on here. So if you took a 4-link, took the top one and connected it down to the bottom one. So it's more adjustable. I can preload at the tip here, not here. So it's a lot nicer. It's bigger around, it's like 1 1/8. It is set up to handle way more horsepower than what this little motor is making. And I just wanted to have the overkill in that sense of if I do throw 12, 13, 1500 horse at this car, it can definitely handle it. Then I went through and did chromoly control arms up front. It has QA1 full adjustables all the way around on the car, disc brakes front and rear, and then I ended up getting these wheels on this thing. These are a set of ET Mag wheels, and they're a rip-off of the old magnesium wheel up front, and then on the back they're a 15 by 12 with like a 2-inch backspace. And I had these built for the car. These you just don't open up a catalog to get. The fronts, yes, the backs, no. And the back is a 2912 Goodyear, and I got so much more room in there. But I wanted to make the frame deep enough to where the tire, normally you got to drop it straight down, disconnect everything from the back, like the shocks, and then try to get the tire out. Well, I notched the frame enough to where I can get it down, and I can actually kick the tire in towards the frame and slide it in and out this way. So that's why I opened it up as much as what I actually did. Then up front, I did my strut bars, motor plates, and I've had to relocate this a couple times because the first motor I built for this was this 496. It was a cast iron headed, about 10.5 to 1, a set of Pro top line heads, just a set of 320s. I went through, ported the heads, ported the intake, nice cam, solid roller. It was like 270, 280 with about 700 lift, a Chuck Knighton 1050 on it, and as you can see from this dyno chart, the thing made 730 horse and like 620-ish, if I'm remembering right, for torque. And I also set it up for a 250 shot of nitrous. So that was the first motor that was going to go into this thing. And I figured, man, this thing will run hard with that 250 shot. This thing will run at least a mid-9, if not quicker. Built a nice set of these like octopus fender well headers for it and all that. And I liked it, but it kept burning in me that I'm going, I want to do a blower motor. I want something like that, and I want to do a blower motor. So I ended up pulling the thing out, sold that motor, and I thought, I'm going to sell the split bumper Camaro. So I put it up, and at that time, the Pro Charge motor was gone. I sold that motor, and me and Steve Morris, we ended up building, I was going to do a drag and drive with that car. We did a twin turbo 540 on straight 93, air-to-air intercooled, Holley, Dominator fuel injection, all that. Just get in, turn the key, hydraulic roller, just like your car, your truck, just blah, and go. And this thing made like 1530 something with some change. That's what was in the Camaro. Well, I sold it, and the guy didn't want the motor. So at that point, I sold that car. I had this motor left over. I just sold the 496. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna stick that thing in here. So I put it in here, and I had some money left over at the time, and my good friend that had the Camaro, the black Camaro that you guys know, he was having some troubles, and things worked out to where I bought the black Camaro. And if you guys want to know more on the black Camaro, the whole story of that car and why I got that and why I'm doing what I'm doing, we can do that one. Hit me down in the comments, and I can do that car next and give you the full lowdown. So at that point, I really didn't want to buy it, but it helped him out, and he gave me a smoking deal on it. Because when I had the money freed up, twin turbo motor went in here, and I thought, I am going to build me the nastiest 55 Chevy. So I go through, and I keep thinking about it. It's like, I still want to do a blower motor. So things happened and, life kind of was changing around a little bit. And I thought, I'm going to sell this thing and I'm just going to go this route. So I sold that twin turbo motor. That is what I put a bunch of money into the black Camaro. And with that selling / trade, I traded for this small block. This guy had it in like a 65 Nova. And he gave me, majority of the lowdown on the motor and all that stuff. And it was this motor and a lot of cash. So I ended up doing that. So I put a bunch of money into the black Camaro. That's why you see that thing with the Pro Charge craziness and all that. And with this thing, this motor, I popped it apart and it's a 372. So how do you get a 372? It's not a stock bore 400 with a 350 crank. It's not a D-stroker motor. This is a stroker motor. This has actually got a 3 5/8 stroke crankshaft in it. So you would have a 3.625 stroke in it, and it's a 403 bore. So it's the same as like an LS 6-liter. It has a set of AFR 235 heads, T&D shaft mounted rockers, bullet cam, it's 9-to-1. Let me think, cam is 262, 272, it's around 690-ish lift. A blower shop 6V71. The reason why I know is because when I called them wanting to know information about it, underneath here, it gives me my part number, so I looked it up. In the 6V71 is their Pro Street blower. It's not a full badass, what I would consider their street and strip or even full drag race blower. The 6V71 is, honestly, it's a little bit smaller than a normal 671. I mean, it's physically like, I think it's a ½ inch smaller, and the rotors themselves are like a ½ inch smaller, but it still makes great power. Like I said, this thing makes 800 horse, and it is a 2x4 Holley Super Sniper up on top, and then it's a snow water meth injection on it. And like I said before, that snow water meth injection kit, doing nothing else, just bolting it on, not messing with timing, not messing with the computer for fuel curve or anything. It was 60 extra horse. So I would think that the blower was getting spun pretty well, and that was just, it was just cooling it off. If I didn't have that on here, that thing would not make that kind of power. And that tells me the limitation of the blower itself right then and there. And with the pulley setup that we had on this thing when I was doing it, it went from where were we at? I got a 55 on the bottom, and it was like a 52, a 50, and then the 46. And that's all I had at the time. So when we ran it, it made like 685, and then we started making in the 700s, and then eventually we ended up getting, knocking on that 800 horsepower. And then I ran out of pulleys. So I did end up going 3 teeth higher on the bottom pulley. So now it's a 58. With all those same pulleys on it, to where now, she should be making around that 8 1/4 mark. I wanted this, a 372 cubic inch small block. Back in the 70s, people did have a big block, but not necessarily a whole lot of people, much less nitrous fed and all that. It would have been blown small blocks, or maybe a blown big block, but this would have been in there. So I ended up doing some nice fender well headers for it, and I just thought this is going to be sweet. Ended up doing the big spacer because I want the blower sticking out of the hood. That air element, or that air cleaner, is not going on this. On Schuler's car, way down there, is the scoop that originally went on here. We just put it on his red Camaro because he wanted it on that. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. So with this, I still have the wiring to do. Like I said, the brakes are done. I'm gonna strip the body, get it down to bare metal, and it's probably gonna end up going a nice candy maroon, maybe a candy apple red, because of my uncle, but I was thinking more of a candy maroon, something like just dark and just, and at that point, a beautiful pearl white on the back, and then the interior is gonna go a two-tone black and white. I have some other buckets besides that Kirky that don't have a headrest, so what you would pretty much see back in the 70s. And then off the cage, I'm gonna set it up to where it's gonna have these little headrests coming off the cage. So I wanna keep that old flavor to it. I'm gonna put a kill duff shifter in it. It's basically lightning rod style shifter, make it look like a Lenko, maybe build a nice little console that gives me that look. And at that point, this thing's gonna be one bad mamma jamma. And I wanna keep all the stainless trim on it. I wanna make it, yes, I could lighten it up in fiberglass bumpers. It has a glass hood, it's gonna have a glass deck lid. But I'm not trying to make this thing a full blown out drag car. I want this to have that flavor, like I said, of the 60s and 70s and 80s and just all that classicness stuck into one package. And that's what this thing is gonna be. Now, with all of that and that kind of power, for you guys that don't know, these things are not super heavy cars. Everybody thinks these things are like heavier than Monte Carlos and they're, 4,000 or 5,000, well, not 5,000 pounds, but over 4,000 pounds. They're not. This thing probably with me in it will be 3,500 pounds. You figure 825 horse. That right there tells me this thing should probably run 970s, 980s, and I am happy with that. I'm gonna do the trunk the way, kind of was done back in the day. We'll do some carpet for it, really make it look nice the way that I ended up doing the wheel wells in the back, keeping all the natural body lines and all that stuff. I wanna keep all of the originality of this car as the forefront, if that makes sense to you guys. Not just cut it up and make it quick, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't want to do that. I want this thing to be something that people, kids to senior citizens, look at this car and just everybody is like, that is a bad car. It might take that same kid like it took me as a kid and went, I want one of those. One day I'm going to have one of those. So that is why I've always wanted a 55 Chevy. It is the ultimate hot rod to me in that entire purest fashion. This is where it all began, was with the 55 Chevy. So this is it, my friends. I hope you guys dug it. This is where I'm gonna leave you guys. I'm gonna go back over and work on the black Camaro. You know the reason why. And I'm gonna daydream on this. I can't wait to get this thing done, but the way life's going and all that, it's gonna be a little while till I get to work on this old girl. So I still love it. I'm gonna do my best to keep it around. I will sell that Camaro before this thing even goes. I am not getting rid of this car. I love this freaking car. So hope you guys are out there busting your knuckles, living the dream, and I'm gonna try to do my best to live my dream. So till we meet again, my friends, hope to see you on the next episode. Take care. See ya.